Hey everyone, David here with Louisville for Everyone. We're a group of residents working to create a city that is inclusive and affordable. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I want to talk to you about something really important that's going to be on our ballots here on November 4th. We'll be voting on measures 300, Prohibition on Residential Rezoning, and 301, Development Impact Fees, which will make Louisville more expensive, displace vulnerable residents, and accelerate declining enrollment in our schools. So to understand why, let's look at each measure individually. First up is Measure 300, Rezoning, and then in the next video, I'll walk through Measure 301, Impact Fees. Measure 300. On the surface, it sounds like a great idea. When you read the ballot, it talks about creating more affordable housing, which is something that we desperately need. But when you dig into what it actually does, you'll find that it will do the exact opposite of what its supporters claim. It's essentially a housing ban in disguise. And this same tactic has been used all over the country, and there's lots of evidence that shows just how it works in practice, from California to Pittsburgh and everywhere in between. So today I want to walk you through it. We're going to look at the actual language of the measure, do some simple math, and talk about why it's a bad deal for Louisville. Okay, so first, what does Measure 300 do? It's deceptively simple. It targets three areas in our city for future development: Redtail Ridge, the land around Vista Hospital, and Centennial Valley. The measure says you can't rezone this land to build any new housing unless the developer makes 30% of all the new homes permanently affordable housing, known as deed restricted, built right there on site. And here's the key part. The measure explicitly says that building those homes on site is the only option. Developers can't pay into an affordable housing fund, and they can't build the homes somewhere else in the city. It's this one specific rule. Take it or leave it. So the big question is, will this actually get us more affordable housing? The answer, when you look at the economics, is a clear no. Look, I think deed-restricted affordable housing is a fantastic tool when it's used correctly. It helps families, seniors, and workers stay in our community. But let's talk about how it works. It requires developers to sell homes for less than they cost to build. In other words, to lose money on some of the homes that they build. So it works when the math works, like when tax dollars help fund the affordable units, or when it's just a few and the developers can make it up by charging higher prices on the rest of the homes. 30% isn't just a few, it's nearly a third. And if they can't make the math work, they'll walk away from Louisville entirely. And 30% of nothing is nothing. So let's look at what happens under this measure. The rule targets households earning 80% or less of the area median income, or AMI. For a family of 4 in Boulder County, that's an income of about $104,000 a year. For housing to be affordable for that family, their total monthly payment, mortgage, insurance, everything, can't be more than 30% of their income. A little bit of math shows that comes out to about $2,605 a month. So what sort of a sale price does that monthly payment support? Louisville uses the same formula as Boulder City. With today's mortgage rates, property taxes, and insurance, a 1,500 square foot, 3-bedroom townhome can't sell for more than $290,000. Some quick math shows that that is $193 per square foot. Supporters point out that new East Street townhomes are selling for over $1 million. But anyone who has tried to build in Louisville knows that it is incredibly expensive. My family just rebuilt our house after the Marshall Fire, so I'm all too familiar with construction costs. And they are high. Developers aren't pocketing $500,000 on that $1 million house. They're making closer to 10 to 15%. We'll go into detail on this for Measure 301, but the fees that Louisville charges can add 10% or more to the cost of construction. Just the fees alone, not even the materials or the labor. We have some of the highest fees in the state. A more realistic construction cost is around $350 per square foot. So they would take a massive loss on a home sold for under $200. The idea is that they would cover that loss by jacking up the prices on the other 70% of the homes. But that just makes the market rate homes even more expensive for everyone else. And at a certain point, the project just isn't financially viable. Developers won't build. So the result of this affordable housing measure isn't 30% affordable housing, it's 0% housing, period. Not affordable, not market rate, nothing. It makes our housing crisis worse. Okay, so the math doesn't work. But on top of that, Measure 300 is blatantly illegal. There is a Colorado state law, you can look it up, it's in Title 29, that says if a city is going to require affordable housing from a developer, it must provide a choice of options. It specifically says the city can only require affordable housing, quote, as long as the regulation provides a choice of options to the property owner or land developer and creates one or more alternatives to the construction of new affordable housing units on the building site, end quote. Measure 300 does the exact opposite. It goes out of its way to eliminate all other options. The text literally says the on-site option shall be the only option to satisfy the requirements for this exception. This violates state law. If this passes, the city of Louisville is certain to get sued, and we, the taxpayers, will be the ones paying the legal bills to defend it. And you know what the craziest part is? We already have an affordable housing requirement of 12%. And importantly, it includes that flexible menu of options that the state requires. We have an affordable housing fund that lets the city partner with nonprofits and use state and federal grants to make even bigger projects happen. Louisville helped fund a development of 400 permanently affordable homes in Lafayette at Willoughby Corner. Construction on the first 192 rental homes just finished, and it's already helping to solve our regional housing crisis. Measure 300 throws all that flexibility out the window and replaces it with a rigid, unworkable, and illegal mandate. I want to mention how they got on the ballot. Under Colorado law and Louisville code, any citizen can create a petition initiative to change the law. With signatures from 5% of the voters, they can send it to City Council, who have two choices: adopt it unchanged or refer it to the voters. And then if the voters approve it in the election, it can't be repealed or substantively changed for 4 years. So one person can write a bad policy on a complex topic, and if the voters approve it, there's no way to fix it without another referendum. And even if they propose something illegal, the City Council has no power to stop it. That's what happened here. A group that includes Sherry Summer, a longtime activist for blocking all growth in Louisville, created 2 misleading ordinances. They asked people, do you support affordable housing? And convinced them to sign the petition saying that these policies will get us more of it. But these policies will block it instead. Housing policy is complex, and we elect representatives to the City Council who have a professional staff to advise them for exactly this reason. Our elected officials care deeply about housing affordability in Louisville and are unanimously opposed to this. Every single City Council member, plus many more former council members and mayors. So when you get your ballot, please look past the misleading title. This isn't a choice between 30% affordable housing and 0%. It's a choice between getting 0 new housing or allowing our city to continue using its flexible, legal, and proven tools to actually get homes built for working families, seniors, and everyone who wants to live in our great community. So the rezoning for affordability measure will make homes less affordable. But you don't have to take my word for it. Look at the coalition of people and organizations who are against this measure. The Louisville City Council unanimously opposes Measure 300. Groups that actually build affordable housing, like Flatiron's Habitat for Humanity, are against it. Faith groups like Together Colorado are against it. The Louisville Chamber of Commerce and Downtown Business Association, they're all against it. These are the people who are on the front lines of our housing and economic challenges, and they are all saying that Measure 300 is a disaster that will only make things worse. Thanks for tuning in, and check out our next video about Measure 301 on impact fees.